I'm really happy to welcome David Riley and Sam McGregor to the show. So hi guys, and thanks for joining me. How's it going?
Good, hello, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Today we're going to talk about digital marketing, basically, which is the specialty of your company. But first of all, I'd like to know a little bit about your background, where you come from, and also how you started out Good Lizard Media. So Dave, you want to start?
So Good Lizard Media was started about 16, 17 months ago. It was set up by myself and Pete Heaney. Pete was head of client relations at IOD UK, and I was head of digital at Cooking Vinyl Records. And we basically left our jobs to set up Good Lizard Media because we wanted to do bespoke digital marketing campaigns, like really work hard on behalf of the artists, promoting everything that they're doing, as opposed to what we were doing at the time was really much more release focus stuff. And about 9 months ago, we took on Sam.
So Sam, where did you come in?
I used to run my own record label. I was in a band. I'm still in a band, and I used to work at a company called Music Void. And then I met Dave and Pete, and decided to come over here and work here, which has been really good so far.
Cool. So let's talk about the process of the company, how you work with your clients. So first of all, how do you get new clients, and what is your outlook when you first take somebody new on, and what do you want to achieve with them?
Okay, so we're kind of in a fairly fortunate position in that we have quite a lot of work come to us. We get recommended from work that I've done previously and we've all done previously. To explain what we do as a business, we're a marketing company, so we don't do PR ourselves, but what we do is put a digital strategy together. So looking at how the whole campaign is going to work and how digital is going to fit in with that and be a key player and be a supportive player in an overall campaign. So what we look for from clients is for originally for them to have a really good idea of what they want to achieve, what their goals are for the campaign. So to give you an example, a campaign could be about just selling a CD, or it could be, a lot of what we do is working with management directly and saying, look, we need to put a CD out, or we've got this happening, but also we want you, like Good Lizard Media, to help us promote for the next 6 months. So we've got a CD out, but we've got a tour out, and we want to build our fan base to X amount of people, and we want to promote everything that we're doing, and that's where we get involved. And the process for us in pitching proposals and planning for an artist is to look at what's happening over an extended period of time and say, well, we've got a CD coming out, we've got a tour, we've got other stuff happening, and then maybe we've got downtime for 3 months where the band are going back into the studio or taking a break, and it's our role to look at how we're going to market and keep money coming through that artist and keep awareness and fan base interaction going for that period of time. And that's what that's our main focus as a company. So that can be anything from giving away free media, creating discussions in those fan bases, creating bundles and retail options for them to be selling, remix competitions using SoundCloud, Topspin, driving traffic from their social networks to a website, to increasing fan bases, that sort of stuff.
And Sam, so you work with, from what I understand, you work with artists, independent artists, management directly, and also with labels. So how does the approach vary from working with these three different sort of prototypes of people, and does it vary at all?
Yeah, it definitely varies. When we work with labels, often they're interested in just selling CDs, so we tailor what we do around that. Whereas if we're working with a management or artist directly, then we can look at the kind of wider picture, which is what we prefer to do. We're happy to work with labels, and labels sometimes have the rights to different areas as well. But we prefer to work with management on a longer term thing, as Dave was saying, so we can sell. We can work towards merch sales, bundles, CDs, digital downloads, tickets, and putting it all together in a way that works for the artist.
So one of the biggest artists you work with so far is Underworld. So how did that relationship come about, and how did you build on the fan base of an artist that is already so advanced, so famous?
Okay, so Underworld have been around for a long time. They've got a fan base already built up, and we were brought on board just as they were releasing their latest album, Barking, and our role with them is to work with the management rather than label. And the band, they're an amazing band for online. They've been working really hard. I mean, to give you an example, the band have been blogging every single day for the last 10 years. I don't know if there's many artists that can say they've done that. They've missed one day.
Because of a riot.
There was a riot at one of their gigs. I think that's acceptable to miss that day out.
I think that's blogging before it was actually called blogging, which is quite good. Yeah.
So they've got a lot of content. They're massively creative people. So our role with them is, we love working with them and just driving, looking at lots of different ways that we can promote them. So they're very active live. They've got some amazing merchandise that they put out. Some really, thoughtful and creative merchandise that we're promoting through them. And then just driving that fan base off the back. This record has been, really well received. It's a fantastic album. And just making the most of all the new fans that are coming through. So with them, we've been working Facebook quite hard. We've got a couple of different tabs up there. We're driving different fans to different places. And obviously, they're a worldwide act. They're big in lots of different territories. So we've been geo-targeting updates to different areas of the world and different sections of the fan base. And just trying to bring out all the creativity that they naturally have and pushing that online and putting some sort of strategy to it as well.
In terms of tools that you utilize for an artist like this, what do you think was the most successful way to excite the fan base, and what do you think was the most useful to the artist?
In terms of spaces for Underworld, I think Facebook is one of their strongest suits. They've got a fan base that ranges across a wide spectrum of demographic. Facebook has been one place that encompasses a lot of that. So that's been fantastic for them. This is why I really enjoy marketing, is that for music is different artists have different areas where things work for them and don't work for them. And that's part of our job at Good Lizard, is to find the right tools, the right online spaces that work for individual artists and promote them in different ways. So for Underworld, we do a lot of updates and geo-targeting. But for an artist, we worked on a campaign for BYOB on Skint Records, a much younger artist. And we've been doing a lot of Twitter sharing, Facebook sharing, BYOB's on Bieber and all that kind of stuff, and just finding the different pockets of people and talking to them and having a strategy that works across those different areas, those different fan bases. So for Underworld, I'd say Facebook definitely. For other artists, it can be anything, and you just need to be able to understand and have a strategy that works for the type of and the demographic of the audience that you want to reach.
Do you guys believe in advertising in terms of actually straightforward advertising on Facebook or on YouTube or on Google ads and stuff?
Yeah, we've done quite an extensive amount of Facebook advertising. We use a company called Grape Digital who do Live Nation, Gucci, lots of other Fiat, etc. Facebook advertising, and to be honest, I mean, this is completely honest, we've had mixed results from Facebook advertising. Some of it's gone really, really well, and it's been inexpensive and targeted, and it's worked really well. And we've had other artists and other campaigns where it's not been as successful. And for us, as a marketing company for music, we always look to build without advertising to begin with. Advertising is something that will come in towards the end of a campaign when if we spend 3, 4, 5 months a campaign, ourselves as a company, we can get a really good idea of what the fan base is like, how they react to content, what they're interested in, where they hang out, who they are, even their personalities, etc. We start to understand who that fan base is and how they're going to react. So we always look to put advertising towards the end where we know exactly who that fan base is and how they're going to react. And that often, in our experience, works a lot better.
And you talk about a time frame as well for campaigns, and a lot of people think, digital, everything happens instantly. It's so easy to sign up to these services. But actually, building up a successful campaign takes quite a bit of time, and it's different for every artist. But what do you think is the ideal time frame to actually promote a record, or from when you get a client to actually releasing something? What is the ideal time frame you'd like to have to actually create something really interesting?
2 years.
Yeah. Someone in a meeting said to Dave, what was the key to the key to the Prodigy campaign? And I said, well, it took ages. That was the key.
So just as a matter, I guess, like this is going to sound trite, but for digital marketing, like it works in the same way as how long you want to get married to someone, like.
Fair enough.
So, like in 3 months, like it's to some extent the relationship. Where digital marketing works really well is when you have a close relationship with the people that like the music or find out about the music. So in the same way, like you can be fairly sure you want to marry someone within 3 months, but within 2 years, you're definitely sure and you understand. So for us, for digital marketing, the longer we can spend with the fan base, the smoother you can make that transition from engaging, rewarding and understanding a fan base to then trying to sell to it. If we come in as a company, and we will do it, and we'll do it to the best of our ability, but if we come in with a month to spare and we're having to hammer out messages to a fan base, draw as many people, like as much data into a campaign as possible from lots of external sources, then it doesn't work as well as if we've been working on it for 6 months, for example. Is you need to build that trust. Like music marketing is about the fan, someone finding out about music, trusting that artist and wanting to be involved with it. So the longer we have to do that, the better.
I've seen bands that I like, and I think I've learnt about your album from a billboard in a tube, and it's out tomorrow. I'm like, I like your band. I won't say which bands they are, but like, if that marketing had been done better and over a longer term, they would have got to me earlier, and it's more of a smoother process, like you're saying, and it's like, the longer the better, really, is the answer to the question.
Awareness is so important. I mean, I've known albums of major artists from major labels that, I love, and I didn't know that the album was out until I saw an advert on telly, just completely by chance. So you kind of work to reduce the possibility of that happening, basically.
If I find out something via a billboard, me personally, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, it's not as good as finding out about it through a friend or through a review, or kind of, I've like learnt about it from looking at a wall. Like, well, aren't I stupid? I don't know about this band that I like.
A physical wall.
A physical wall. Yeah.
Not a Facebook
wall. Not a Facebook wall.
And metrics. So you guys do loads of stuff that needs to be measured like all the time. You have to show results and all that kind of stuff. So what are the tools that you consider most useful to gather metrics for music?
I guess again, it's not cool to say Facebook, but it's Facebook Insights is so far and away better than even some other things that provide the same information, so the similar information across a whole fan base. So, I mean, yeah, I love looking at Facebook Insights. It's downloadable as a CSV, that kind of thing. I love all that.
And in terms of like other companies that are focused on music, like band metrics or music metrics, is there anything that you find most useful amongst those?
We use Next Big Sound. We sign up our artists to that to get all the data through from different social networks and different areas. We use Google Analytics on artist websites, and we use Google like trackable links as well for content, and we use Bitly short links across social networks, Twitter, etc. Having that data is really important, and it gives us an idea and an understanding of how traffic is flowing and what people are liking. But what we do as a company, what I think is really important, data is great, but being in that community every day, reading the comments, seeing what people are talking about, and then combining that with the data and the understanding of the flow of traffic, and also knowing the end goal as well, knowing how much people are buying, where they're buying it, and putting that whole thing together gives you a good understanding. I don't think just raw data is going to help you significantly in marketing a record. As I said, it's bringing together the data, the understanding of a fan base, and also understanding where they're going to buy and where the actual end goal is. Just
to kind of add to that, it's like if I'm going to quickly look at a band's sort of statistics in just as over the space of a couple of days, I will look at if they've tweeted something significant, a review in a prominent place or something like that, or an announcement. I'll look at how many retweets it's had, and then I'll look at the impressions and response rate on Facebook. We work with a band called Dreadzone, and their fan base on Facebook should have been bigger, and it was growing the time we were working with them, which was great. But their interaction with their fan base was amazing, and it was like, as a percentage of people who like that band on Facebook, and the amount of people who like their updates and comment on it, it was amazing compared to some another bands that had like triple the amount of people on Facebook would have less.
This is a massive marketing misconception that now with like digital, with the ability to have insights into how many people you have in a fan base, how many email addresses, how many Facebook likes you have, it's become a drive for numbers rather than for interactions, rather than the real fan base. You can have 100,000 people on a mailing list, and only 16% of those people actually open it. And you can have 20,000 where 90% open it, and it's pretty much the same thing. So 2-3 years ago, we were talking about the changes in music marketing. 3 or 4 years ago, you do a free download and get X amount of people into a fan base, and that would be considered a success. But what people should be looking at when they're trying to analyse success of a marketing campaign now is how many active fans, how many people are actually involved and interested. Sam was talking about the other day that since Facebook's been around, like, over the last 2 or 3 years, people now like on Facebook hundreds of different movies, music, TV shows, random stuff, and they get loads and loads of updates. So 2 or 3 years ago on Facebook, you liked 10 things or 12 things, and all the changes that Facebook put through, loads of people like lots more things. So what you need to concentrate on from a marketing perspective is engagement, and that's a case of being interesting and being interested. So writing updates that when you look at the insights, they say 12% of people viewed this, etc. And also being interested in what your fans have to say. It's not a case of one-way communication. And that's something we drill into our bands and our artists, to say that it's one thing to post a lot, but you're trying to create a community, and that needs two-way communication. And that's something we work really hard towards.
It must be hard to work with artists all the time, because you can have some really interesting artists that always post interesting things, but what do you do when you get an artist that keeps posting about what he's had for lunch and doesn't really encourage that sort of two-way conversation?
We have a meeting about it.
Cool.
Everyone wants to kind of be close to the artist. Fans of a band want to be close to the artist. Anything that we're working on will kind of encourage the artist to make it very, we'll work together to make it so that when the artist is posting, we'll make it very clear that it's them. And when it's us or the management just doing an update, we'll make that very clear. So the fan knows that, if it's Underworld, it's like Carl's posting something about, he's done a painting type thing. Or if it's us saying about a gig, that's kind of clear for them. But if an artist is posting too much, I think that I've experienced that once, and I just sent an email saying, just chill out. Like, let's make these posts relevant to your band, and if you're going to tell everyone your constant thoughts, just maybe do it on your personal one, and we'll separate it out. And normally it's the other way around. It's like, I haven't got time for the internet. So
live. So what do you guys do about live? There's kind of a growing movement towards trying to steer away from the bigger ticket retailers and trying to make it more independently. And Topspin have shown that recently with what they've done with the Pixies. But is that feasible? Maybe it's more feasible for you guys to work with more independent bands. And how can you achieve direct ticket sales or that sort of way to cut out the middleman?
I think with the Pixies Topspin example, Topspin themselves have said that's it was a success, but it's more of just a catalyst to other artists to say this can be done. And absolutely, I've suggested it a couple of times to our clients and say, this can be done, and we'd love to be involved in it. My experience is not in working in the live industry, so I'm sure there's ticketing people and from Live Nation will say no, it can't be done. But Richard, who manages the Pixies, he said, do it, because then after you've done it, all these companies will want to pay you more to stop you doing it again. So there's no sort of downside.
It's something that has to happen. It's something that as a company we'd love to see. And we were talking before about long-term marketing, like looking at a long-term artist. So as much as some artists don't want to see it possibly as this, but your fan base, the work you do with your data, with your marketing, the work we do is building a business. And there's no reason why every artist shouldn't be selling, ideally every artist shouldn't be selling all their tickets directly. They'll make more money, the fans will be charged less, there'll be less scalping, etc. It works for everybody, and that's something that everybody, managers, artists, ourselves, we should all be Topspin, everyone else, we should be looking to do exactly that, musically the same. Selling directly to fans, it cuts out people that are essentially adding nothing to the value chain other than another step in the process. And if we can cut that out, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how it would play out on an independent level, because I mean, it's almost impossible to see it happening in venues like the O2 or even Hammersmith Apollo. I would assume like the promoters and Ticketmaster or Live Nation have a pretty strong grip on the venues in that sense. But I don't think that's true of smaller venues, maybe like 400 to 800 to 1,000 people. Or do you think there's still like this kind of partnership with ticket sites? Like
both me and Sam come from playing in smaller bands. Sam's band was bigger than mine, but like we come from playing in bands that played to 200, 300 capacity venues, and toured, etc. And for a lot of those venues, we were given 50 tickets, 100 tickets to sell ourselves. And the model is there to do it. It's just a problem with the modern music industry. There's so many people that are invested in, the bigger venues, in the value chain that occurs there, that trying to break that down is difficult. But it's fantastic people like the Pixies have done something to prove a model. The case is we need to keep proving that this is possible and this can be done. And we can cut out some middlemen, and we can, everyone can make more money, and there can be better value in the music industry, and that's what we should all should be striving for.
I mean, as a fan, buying a ticket for a show, for a gig directly from the band, and making sure, we can come in and make sure that it feels like, whether you're buying it directly from the Pixies, you're probably not, but with Topspin, other people, making it feel like the fan is buying it directly from them, that increases the enjoyment of the experience for the fan. It's like, I'm doing something here. I'm not, going on to Ticketmaster or whatever and buying a ticket and having to pay, all these fees. I'm drawn into it, and it sort of increases that experiential factor with going to a gig.
Yeah. With all our artists, like everyone from Underworld, Delays, Ed Hardcore, Operator Please, everybody, they want to give as much value to the fans as they can, and by cutting out as many people as possible, that's what is definitely possible to do. So tools like, especially, Topspin especially, looking at being able to sell direct to fans, and again, having that fan base, building it this is what we do as a company, but like building a decent fan base where there's good interaction, there's a good understanding of who the fans are, they're treated well, they're communicated with in the proper manner, and the most is being made of everyone that's come to listen to that artist. If you can build all of that, then there's no reason why you can't create your own cottage industry as an individual artist and sell, X amount of tickets, X amounts of CDs yourself. By having an understanding that database, that fan base, you can predict how much you're going to sell. You can confidently say, well, we've got 1,000 people in Newcastle on our mailing list. We know that 500 people open it regularly, so we could easily sell 200 tickets to this gig. So let's book a 200 venue and see if we can upgrade it, etc. There's definite ways to use an online fan base to do that.
The thing that I think is stopping fans moving from, buying it direct to fan and buying a ticket direct to fan, buying a CD, any merch, anything direct to fan, is kind of routine and, fear. Like, they're happy to use Amazon, they're happy to use Ticketmaster. They know that they get their tickets. But if some band, a small band who's, they're going to be doing it themselves, there's a slight risk involved there, and I think that's what's putting people off. If I could spend 10p on the internet without having to spend 5-10 minutes typing in my details, I would do it. I'd spend way more money online if I could do it in a secure way. Obviously, I don't want to have my money stolen and everything like that, but I want to be able to spend small amounts of money online and be okay with it. So the barrier is fear and routine. The big shift, hopefully, in direct-to-fan sales and in the music industry in general, is when we move from people having Amazon and iTunes accounts where their credit cards are in there, and it's very easy for them to both trust it and to buy from it. And as an industry, hopefully, like the work we do is in marketing, like quality marketing, the route that a lot of managers are going down, is to make people comfortable with buying direct from the artist. In the same way they'll buy from like Etsy retailers that they really like, that they'll trust an independent blog for their opinion. In the same way they should trust artists to buy direct from them. And that's something that if we can do, we can move them away from big retailers, from Amazon, from iTunes, from everywhere else, and sell directly. As we were saying before, we'll cut out the middlemen and we'll be selling directly, and it's the best relationship possible for music.
So you guys also do courses for AIM, which is the Association of Independent Music here in the UK. So what are the courses about? Who are they aimed at? And what do you talk about there?
Okay, so for AIM, we do a digital marketing day where we go through with members of AIM, friends of AIM, etc. They come along and we talk about how they can do digital marketing on a shoestring budget, on basically, doing everything themselves. So as a company, we charge, a fair amount of money for what we do. But there's obviously lots of independent, unsigned artists out there that are doing digital marketing themselves. So what we offer as a service to AIM is to do digital marketing training, give them the tools, like the benefit of what we've experienced doing bigger campaigns, and pushing that experience back through to them. So explain how it covers everything from social networks to mail list providers, advertising options, content creation, how to create video, how to get music videos made. Like we always look to promote radar music video for them to get videos made, stuff like that, and just give them options to do a really good digital marketing campaign on a very small budget.
Part of it as well is just straightforward education. It's like, well, some people come with a kind of, either open mind or preconceptions about, okay, well, why do I need, what's the point of Twitter? And we can say, well, in the past we've used it for this, and this is the results we've gained, and this is how it works, and it's not a waste of your time, and that kind of thing. So
what's really daunting for a lot of people about online for music is there's so many different things you can do. There's so many different services, and there's lots of people saying try this, do this, use these different companies. And what we do with our training days is say we've tried this, we've done this, we've found this is the best option. And also we say you also need a strategy. It's one thing to go and sign up with Ping and with artist data and lots, all the different services that there are. But what marketing really needs is a strategy first and foremost. So we talk through all the different tools you can use, but all the while trying to put a strategy behind it and say, when are you going to do this? And something we haven't mentioned, like with digital marketing, when I started sort of 5 years or so ago, we were very much on the periphery of a marketing campaign. But now digital marketing is intrinsic to all other parts of marketing of a record. So we talk in our AIM Digital Days about how that's going to fit in with radio that you're doing, how it's going to fit in with local tour dates, how it's going to fit in with, how it's going to fit around an artist that's working 9 to 5. How are you going to get that artist to be able to promote themselves, when they're going to create content, when you're going to use that content, all the kind of stuff that makes up a really good strategy that works with, they may have some Steve Lamacq plays, they may have a few, dates in the north that they need to put marketing around, and just tying all that together for them and giving them an idea of, a broader idea of how digital fits in with the overall marketing strategy.
Cool. Well, and to sort of conclude, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about, the number of services? You touched upon the fact that there's so many services that people can use to promote their music in various capacities online. What do you think about the abundance of companies out there? Do you think we're sort of in a bubble moment, and do you think that some of these companies are going to disappear, and you're going to end up with a slightly more restricted amount of options that are more successful? Or do you reckon that this trend is going to continue and that we're going to have loads and loads of services all the time?
I think the companies that will succeed starting are the ones that can mix music industry ideas and understanding with the correct technology that will allow, it'll fit together with the options that music industry needs.
Okay, so with looking at companies and technologies that are coming forward, what the most important thing that they need to do is for tech companies to understand how bands and artists work. So it's one thing to develop technologies that work amazingly and do all the bells and whistles and all the different bits and pieces that technology allows to do. But what they really need to do as a tech company and as artists and as managers, etc., we need to work together to create technology that works for both sides, that's easy to use, that fits in with the lifestyles, with the time available, with the technology and the computer skills that artists have, to actually marry those two together and make it as easy as possible for both sides to do it. And to be honest, I think one company that's done that amazingly well is SoundCloud, to enable producers, etc., to actually be able to use the technology and the site intuitively, and that's what's made SoundCloud really popular. And services like Bandcamp really popular because they're easy for artists to understand and to get to grips with and to use. So when we're looking at services to use, obviously we have a more tech understanding of how sites and technology works, but for new startups and for technology companies to get a foothold in the music industry, they need to be collaborating really closely with artists to make it as easy as possible to use.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. It was great having you on. And look forward to seeing more of your campaigns and seeing what you guys do.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for having us on. Cheers.